The Delta Fireman's Ball is Saturday, July 27th. You can enjoy food, live music, games, and more. There will be a poker run from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Keith Davis will be playing music from 6 to 9 p.m. For more information on the Delta Fireman's Ball, contact Jim or Fake Harry at 319-212-8772. The Delta Fireman's Ball is coming up Saturday, July 27th. Don't miss it. Keokuk County Expo 2024 Stars, Stripes, and Summer Nights is the place to be in July. Things start off with a bang on Monday, July 15th with Rogue Rodeo at 7:30 p.m. On Thursday, July 18th is the Keokuk County Expo Queen Contest and the Bill Riley Talent Search. On Friday, Tyler Richardson and the High Bank Boys will be in concert starting at 7:30 p.m. And then on Saturday, it's the Figure 8 races at the Keokuk County Expo. Bring the family, have a great time, and enjoy the fair at the Keokuk County Expo in Sigourney. The Union Mills Community Closet presents Christmas in July fundraiser dinner, July 27th, starting at 5 p.m. at Bradbury Hall, Nelson Pioneer Farm, Oskaloosa, serving a catered dinner of chicken cordon bleu or savory sliced beef. Call 641-200-1940 or look for Union Mills Community Closet on Facebook to purchase your tickets. Tickets are $30 or $240 to reserve an entire table. All proceeds directly benefit Union Mills Community Christmas Toy Drive. It's the Christmas in July fundraiser dinner, July 27th at Bradbury Hall, Nelson Pioneer Farm. Saturday, July 20th, the Southern Iowa Fair welcomes Eddie Montgomery of Montgomery Gentry, along with special guest Dylan Carmichael and area favorites, The Boys. Tickets in advance are $40. Get your tickets at sifonlinestore.com. For more information, stop by the fair office at 615 North I Street in Oskaloosa or call 641-673-7004. It's Eddie Montgomery of Montgomery Gentry headlining the Southern Iowa Fair concert on Saturday, July 20th. Doors open at 6:30. Start time is at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are $45 the day of the show.
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and Never Wrong Nick Bull.
Hello, one and all. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan for the fan. I'm your host, Never Wrong, Nick Bull. Of course, I'm joined by my tag team partner, the co-title holder of the For Frequency's Sake Network Tag Team Championship belts, the Wizard CZ. Wiz, how you doing?
I'll be honest with you, partner. I am dragging today. I didn't sleep well. I'm a little tired, but we had a fun night last night out at SCW Pro, and I'm excited to...
Well,
you're right to hype them up, and
we absolutely did. Last night at SCW Pro in Bluegrass, they had their red, white, and bruised event. It was a great event. It was a hot night. We're currently in the sweltering wrath of a heat wave, if you will, trying to keep cool. But the action was hotter than all get out last night in Bluegrass. And if you want to talk about heat, and I'm not talking about the heat in the air, we have a guest today who. For lack of a better term, I think it's nuclear heat when it comes to an SCW Pro show. I can't wait to tell him this face to face. When he comes out, I mean this in the best way possible. Oh no, he's here because he gets such nuclear heat. He gets such a response from the crowd. I can't wait to hear what he had to say about it, and I can't wait to talk wrestling with him. Of course, I'm talking about our guest this week. He is the current holder of the Quad City of the SCW Pro QC Cup. He is managed by none other than Mark Storm. He is John Bonhart, and we have him in studio with us this week. John, I wanted to say this to you on the show. I wanted to wait to off the show. Didn't want to say it off the air, but I get that feeling when you come out of the show. I mean this in the best way possible, not cutting you down. oh no, he's here again. He has such you have such good heat around you as a wrestler, and I think I'm trying to pay it as a compliment to you that when you come out or when your music hits or when you come out and have something to say, it's cringeworthy because you're going to get the crowd's reaction, and I think that's a good thing. Welcome to the show, John.
Happy to be here, and you know what? That's the best compliment you could possibly give, man. You get heat like that, that means you got them. You know, that means they're paying attention. All eyes are on me. You know, and that's what you want as a performer.
Add into that you have Mark Storm.
You got it. I don't know if you press the magic button before you come. Oh, go ahead, CZ.
I was just saying, add into that you've got Mark Storm in your corner, and it's even hotter there. But we'll talk about Mark in a little bit. I do want to touch on him being your guy in the corner. But I'm going to start off and ask you. I'm going to steal Nick's question. I did it last week too. Ask you the question we ask everybody that comes on the show for the first time: why pro wrestling? What got you hooked?
So initial fandom, or like what made me decide this is what I want to do?
Both.
Or both?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Right on. So as a kid growing up, we didn't have a whole lot of money, right? We had, money was real scarce. But so obviously we didn't have cable, didn't have internet, didn't have all of that. But what we did have was those old dog ear antennas with the tin foil wrapped around them, so we could actually get a little bit of reception. And the only 3 channels that really came in, man, were 2 Spanish channels, and at the time UPN, which SmackDown was on, and those 2 Spanish channels, Lucha Libre was on. So I was exposed to it almost by necessity, I guess. But I distinctly remember just every time it was on, it grabbed me. And the moment that it really like sunk in, where I was like, okay, there's something special about professional wrestling. This is something I want to watch on a regular basis, and I want to get to know, you know, what the magic is, so to speak. There was a moment on SmackDown where they were really trying to get over Great Khali's his vice grip, right, where he would grab his opponent by the head and he would just squeeze the life out of him, right? And I remember him applying the hold to Rey Mysterio. And he's got him up in the air, and his feet are dangling, and his arms are flailing, and the crowd's losing their mind. This is their hero. They've loved this man for 15 plus years. You know, it's Rey Mysterio. And as he's going, just this little bit of blood spurts out of his mouth, and it's just dribbling down his chin, and the camera's right up on his face, and you just see this lifeless face, blood dribbling down, and they pan up to the Great Khali, and he's, doing his whole thing, and I was like, okay, obviously this man's brains didn't just get smashed. You know, I'm only 6 or 7 at the time, but I know we're not witnessing a murder. But everybody in this crowd, eyes laser focused on them. All of their attention is on this moment, and it's this huge spectacle. And I was like, okay, I'm hooked. I'll see y'all next week. We're coming back. You got me. And then obviously that was a great time to get in on SmackDown because you had The Undertaker, you had Batista, you had Rey Mysterio, you had the Cruiserweight division, you had a pretty solid tag division at the time. You had Teddy Long, the best, in my opinion, the best general manager of all time. Such an entertaining
playa.
Oh yeah. And you had Taz on commentary with I don't remember who he was with at the time.
It wasn't Michael Cole yet, was it?
Yeah, I don't think it was Michael Cole yet. I don't think at that point it was Michael Cole.
That's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, I know eventually Michael Cole was there, and eventually JBL was on as well. I think that was after Taz had left, but I don't recall who he was. It might have been it would have been before Matthews, and I don't think Grisham was doing any commentary at the time. But the point was, we had Taz, and Taz was just phenomenal on his calls, man. Best announcer in the game at that point, in my opinion. Commentator at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So that really sunk everything in from a spectacle point of view, right? And on the other end of that, I was also watching a lot of Lucha Libre, right? I was watching AAA, I was watching CMLL, And watching that fast-paced, super athletic style with the occasional like hardcore match that they would have, I was like, okay, so there is so much going on in the world of professional wrestling other than just the WWE. And it's not like, oh, they're just doing a carbon copy just in front of different people. No, this is an entirely different animal, you know? And that was just, I had hooks stuck in from all these different angles at that point, you know? And then shortly after that, I got my buddy to start watching. And then we watched TNA, and I started seeing some of those AAA guys and some of the guys I remember early on in SmackDown also being over there. And then, you know, some legends that you'd heard about, you know, your Mick Foley's, your Stings, these guys. And I was like, huh, okay. And then it just kept sinking deeper and deeper and deeper. And then I went all the way down the rabbit hole, did the whole, you know, small town, nothing going on, bunch of kids who are wrestling fans. Yeah, we did a little backyard wrestling, you know. And it was just like, okay, so this is fun on top of that. It doesn't feel great, but it's fun, you know. And then just after that, I had a couple of friends who went and got trained after we, you know, I think I was probably a sophomore in high school. They were out of high school at this point. They went and they got trained, and their trainer got a hold of me because I had, you know, I was with them every now and then when they would go to shows and things, and he was like, "You ever thought about doing this? I mean, you're 6'4" at the time. I was in football shape, so I was looking pretty good." He was like, I think you got a bit of a look to you. You seem like you got a passion for this, yada yada yada. And we did like this little training camp thing in some guy's backyard, which is not the greatest venue. But you know, we took a couple of bumps, we rolled around a little bit, ran the ropes a little bit, did that sort of a thing. And he was like, "Man, you move really well. You know, let's get you doing this." But I was 16 at the time. There was no way mom was going to let that happen. So it kind of got put on the back burner for a while. I stayed a fan, obviously. But I was like, you know, maybe pro wrestling isn't going to be my thing. And then I get into college. My friends keep on, you know, they keep on working. Most of them kind of dropped out for this reason or another. You know, life happens. But I always just kept coming back to this thought of like, you know, man, what if I did give it a go? You know, could I possibly make something out of this? Like, could I do this and not just, I don't know. Could I break my neck? Of course. That's always an option. It's also an option that I have a 20+ year career and it's the greatest thing I ever do with my life. You know, there's only one way to find out, is to give it a shot. So 2020 comes around. I'm out of college at this point. And one of my friends who had previously trained, who had dropped out, was like, you know, I'm thinking about getting back into it. Our other buddy that we'd known from the backyard wrestling days, he was working at this school in San Jose, Pro Wrestling Revolution. And he talked to their trainer, got their rates probably a little lower than they normally would have been because he put in a word. And he was like, "Hey man, if you guys start coming out and get you trained, we can start getting you guys, you know, to the point where you're show ready, you know, yada yada yada," the whole pitch. And I was like, all right, I'm not, you know, I'm a single guy at this point. I've got no reason not to, you know. So I start training there for a few months and it's going great. You know, bumping feels real natural, running the ropes feels real natural, everything that we're doing is just flowing and it's like everything's clicking and I'm like, okay, nothing was really overly difficult. Granted, we're doing like beginner stuff and we're taking our sweet time hammering it all in,
Sure.
but it all felt real good, you know. And I was like, and I started getting into my mind like, yeah, this is something I'm going to go for, this is something I'm going to make a real run for. Well, of course, that's the beginning of 2020. 2-3 months later, country shuts down. We're in San Jose, Bay Area. Quarantine hits hard. School shuts down, obviously. So I'm kind of left high and dry, and I'm like, well, now what? And then just some life things progress. I end up moving up to Washington State. And while I'm up there, the entire time I'm looking for a wrestling school because I'm like, as soon as this quarantine passes, as soon as all of this blows off, I'm getting back into wrestling. Like there's no way at this point. It's in the blood. I got an itch for it. I'm doing
Yep.
it. Start looking around for schools, realize there's really nothing in the area as far as I could see. So then I start broadening things out. I'm like, you know what? I'm making a decent amount of money. I know I can. I've got a skill set where I can pick up a job just about anywhere in the country and be all right. I'm gonna go wherever I can find a good school. Then I happen upon Black and Brave, of course, and that's what kind of brought me out here. You know, and looking into it, I'm like, okay, well, there's 1,000,001 schools that have a big name attached to it, who's, you know, either a name on the building or is actually in the building all the time.
Right.
Let's look at kind of the other things that are attached to it. You know, let's see who's come through the school. Are they attached to a promotion? What's the facilities look like? You know, that whole checklist. And man, Black and Brave just checked every single box.